This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Want to feel more creative but don't have the right laptop? Lenovo.com can help. Look through our legendary lineup of AI-powered PCs and devices and find the one that fits your passion. Our PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, as well as cutting-edge AI tools, allow students to focus, learn, and create with ease. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Plus, college students and teachers can get 5% off their order. Shop now on Lenovo.com. The future's waiting, and it needs you.
And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s, a legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash.
Ready to step out of the financial history museum? At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
And boom!
Common man, no show prep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh boy! Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello.
It's only able to regroup, then it's poked away by Burke, who takes over. Pushes it up ahead to McGregor. Holy Cross coming down with a 3-on-2. McGregor from the right side, centering feed. Oh, my God! Oh, Taylor McGregor! Yes! Off of a rebound, puts it past Kelly Riggs, and Holy Cross has knocked off the Minnesota Golden Gophers! Oh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yes! Oh my goodness! We're not going home yet, baby! Just 53 seconds into overtime, and the Holy Cross Crusaders are mobbing Tyler McGregor and Tony Casada! It's the second chance. It's the second effort, and it goes in. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Yes, I do! Holy Cross has shocked the world right now.
Okay, calm down. We said it was going to be a tough guy game. And in a tough guy game, playoff football in December, you got to execute, and you can't leave plays on the field.
Brilliant! Yeah, quack, quack.
Do you think that's some information I would like to know?
Yeah, Rosie.
You calling me a coward? Young man, I've done things that would make the hair on the back of your neck stand up.
Quack, quack. Rosa, you don't know nothing.
Welcome back to the spotlight, young man.
clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the North. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
Yes, indeed, I am. And the Grum begins at 5, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Greetings, good afternoon, and ack-ack-a-dack. And dack-dack-ack to you and yours. I'm the Common Man, Dan Cole. Bloody nose and all. Still getting bloody noses, Tennessee. The sad thing about today is I stanched the bleeding earlier on the golf course. Well, I was bleeding on the golf course figuratively and literally. My golf game, I was bleeding all over. And then all of a sudden, my nose sprung a leak. And now it just sprung a leak just before I went on the air. So there's blood everywhere. It's a mess. It's a massacre is what it is. But I'll get it fixed eventually. The first thing is, how does Nordo work in this studio with every light on at like it was a Broadway production? All the lights are as bright as they can be, and he's got all the window shades up. It was like it's like a hospital operating room in here. I walked in and I felt like Manfred Mann. I was blinded by the light. It's just like I had to actually, and I guess I'm ghoulish. Some people might call me Bela Lugosi or the Count Dracula. I do like it dark. It matches my mood for sports talk radio. Dark, brooding, wet blanket like. Somebody, I checked back on it. A tweet I sent out not long ago. I said the Wolves were a better team with Bodega Cat, trolling people, right? I actually do think they were a better team when they had Bodega. And then someone said, Common Man, biggest Minnesota sports hater there is. I'm a Minnesota sports hater, Tennessee. Well, I'm really not a sports hater. I just because I have a lot of negative things to say about the clubs doesn't mean I hate them.
And is it negative or is it objective?
Well, that's what
is it negative or you just have standards?
Yeah, well, that's what it is. I hold myself teams to the same standards I hold myself. But yeah, but anyway, there will be no Common Man golf roundup today. It's brutal. And now at about 3:38 this afternoon, where do you think I'll be?
You'll be across that Anoka County lines.
I'll be north of that Anoka County line. What will be behind me?
Your troubles.
But so will my worst golf. That'll be ahead of me. That won't be behind me. I'm playing awful, and I'm playing with a couple of guys from the MGA. And when they see me hitting one awful shot after another, looking like Tennessee when he first picked up the game, the very first, I look like you the first time you ever swung a club. And I can't imagine what that was like, because even now that you've played, though you did have an experience, that's not like a PGA Tour player. I just can't hit a golf ball. I know it's all in my head. Tell me it's that 6 inches between your ears. But, I feel like I'm shrinking too. I think I'm getting shorter. And I can't get much shorter than I'm not. I'm 5'9" on my tippy toes and probably just scratch 5'8" when I stand flat-footed. I feel like I'm about 5'6", 5'5" now. No! I feel like I feel like I'm shrinking, and I don't know why, but I got a lot of things going through my head that is not conducive to a positive attitude about things. But you know what? I will. I'll figure it out. I'll get the golf game going.
It can change quickly.
Yes, and then I'll be happy again. There was a time when if I would shoot 75, I felt like I was a good person and a great golfer. The next day I could shoot 85 and felt like I was a horrible human being and a horrible golfer. And I've been able to shake that, but it's starting to lean toward that again. You doubted the Pacers. I think you said sweep. No, I don't think you said anything. I don't think you asked for my opinion on the series. I don't know how much you watched. I watched a good chunk of the fourth quarter. Yeah, well, that's what I did. The part I saw was I had it on the entire game. We tuned in right after dinner, about 7:45. So matter of fact, there was maybe it was a little. No, it was probably later than that because there was like 5 minutes and 18 seconds to go. I think when I turned it on, and the score was like 14-12. I mean, that's how. Isn't that funny? That would be if that was a regular season game, that would be the score about 3 minutes in. They're past the halfway point of the first quarter, and they've only got a grand total of I think it was maybe even like 14-8 or something. I mean, they had barely over 20 points, and almost half the first quarter plus was over because they were both playing very stingy defense. And in that first quarter and much of that first half, Oklahoma City Thunder looked like one of the best basketball teams ever assembled. The Pacers, there were at least a half a dozen possessions where they couldn't even get a shot off because they were suffocated and you talk about wet blankets and blanketed by Thunder defenders coming in droves and waves. And I said, well, this is just what I expected. Matter of fact, I said 4-2 yesterday. I didn't give the Thunder enough credit. It looked like they were
Thunder or the Pacers?
The Thunder.
Okay.
It looked like the Thunder was headed toward a sweep. That's a client calling. The Thunder, I thought, well, they're headed toward a sweep. As I'm packing my bags, all my bags are packed. I'm ready to go. I'm standing here outside your door. I'm packing a couple of things for tonight's overnighter up at Madden's, the classic for Tee to Green in Gulf Day, Minnesota. And I start watching the game, and all of a sudden, well, it's kind of close now. So I settled in. And even when they closed the score to within the Pacers, I don't know, 5-6 points. But then next thing you know, Shea or somebody, Dort, knocking down a shot, and they go back up. Yet, the Pacers, Halliburton, again, I think this is, and I've got the stats here. We'll take a look at those a little bit later. I think maybe the fourth time in postseason play, he hits a game winner or a shot to tie it at the buzzer.
Yeah.
And then with a frantic comeback, the Pacers have trailed. I'll dig up the numbers. It's like they've trailed.
I texted them to you.
Did you? They trailed like a half a dozen times by 15 or more points late in the game and came back and rallied back to win the game. And last night, they did not lead the game. They did not have a lead. They did not have a lead in the game until there was 0.3 seconds to go when Halliburton hit the little jump shot that gave them the lead. You only need a lead at the end, Tennessee. That means for 47 minutes, 59.7 seconds, the Thunder had the lead. And then, boom, with one shot, that was it. And that has to be, I don't think it's like a fatal blow to Oklahoma City because I think they're too talented. They're too good. Their defense is too good. I mean, that's a tough one. That would be the one where it would be hard to bounce back from when you had the game in control. The Pacers turned the ball over 25 times, including 15 in the first half. That's how suffocating that defense was. Yet the Pacers, they stood tall, they stayed strong, they just kept battling and battling and battling. And lo and behold, they steal one. It's like a pickpocket in a subway. They pickpocket and they win the game.
Yeah, I was going to say the Pacers have come back from down 15 or more 5 times.
5 times.
The most such comebacks in a single postseason in the play-by-play era since 1997. Pacers are 5-3 when they go down by 15 or more this playoffs. Also, Pacers trailed by 9 with 2:52 to play in the play-by-play era since the start of the 1997 playoffs. Mm-hmm. Teams were 0-121 in NBA Finals when trailing by 7+ points in the final 3 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime before tonight.
That is very accurate. I researched that. I didn't research. You sent it to me, and I saw it in Tim Reynolds. I'm a big Tim Reynolds guy. He writes basketball for the Associated Press. He had a lot of those numbers as well. So I didn't give the Pacers enough credit. I should have bet Rose, and I should have taken the Pacers. We didn't make a bet on that. I owe a lot. I got to get my debts paid off. I owe you money. I've lost a couple of bets to Rosen. This is why I don't gamble. Because now I'm getting further and further in debt. I owe you 4. I think I owe Rosen 8 or 10.
You have a second bet you lost to him.
Right.
Yeah.
So I owe him like 8 or 10. I owe you 4. I mean, this is getting out of hand.
Yeah, because you had Rodgers signing with the Vikings. Right. So you owe him Rosen $6 for that.
Yeah, and then another 4. So that's 10 I owe him, and I owe you 4. I'm $14 in the hole right now. And, there's the temptation to throw good money after bad. Oh, Tennessee, let's make another bet on something. But I'm not going to. I'm going to refrain. I'll get you your money. I'll pay my debt to society and to Tennessee and Mark Rosen. and then I'll try to regroup and figure out where I've been, where I'm going, and where I'm at. We'll take a break. We'll come back. I've got some controversial Vikings news on the other side of the break, for real this time, as we take a peek at the purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric. That's next, and of course, the biggest moment of the week comes your way at 1:30. It's the final semifinal of the Program Password Invitational Tournament. A terrific matchup. Meat Sauce and Max square off against JG and Corey Cove, the maestro of the mornings. That's at 1:30. That and so much more, or maybe not, on the Common Man program here on The Fan.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at Public.com. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? If you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. Choose from hundreds of social casino style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Unlock smarter learning with Lenovo AI-powered PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Head to Lenovo.com and choose from multiple devices to fit your passions. If you're a gamer, you can spend less time stressing about GPUs and CPUs and more time dominating with your AI-enabled smart engine, which optimizes your game performance in real time. Or maybe you're a scientist on the verge of a groundbreaking discovery and need a device with a longer battery life and AI-enhanced tools to give you extra time to finish your research. Or you're a musician preparing for your biggest break and need better, faster AI tools to make digital art a breeze, like creating band posters and t-shirt designs. Or you're a soon-to-be graduate needing to catch a recruiter's eye to land that dream job, so you need cutting-edge smart tools to build your portfolio from scratch. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Plus, college students and teachers get 5% off with an education account on Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
Head over to our contest page. No, that's the wrong radio station.
Robin Trower.
I was about to read a vibe for Cool 108. Let's go to the Fan.
Cool 108.
Don't miss out on the classic musical Grease at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater. Experience the nostalgia of high school in the 50s with this musical based on the iconic film. Head over to our contest page for your chance to win a pair of tickets, including dinner for two. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter today.
Olivia Newton-John.
There was a time I worked for Cool 108.
Yeah, what happened?
One day I was told your services are no longer needed. You do not need to render them anymore. They got sick and tired of being sick and tired of my act. When I first started listening to Cool 108, it was the best of the 50s and 60s. That's how long ago it was. Then it was the best of the 60s and 70s. Then it was best of the 70s and 80s. Best of the 80s and 90s. And now I think it's called 90s and beyond.
It's my kind of radio station now.
It is your kind of radio station. I like it.
I'm in the demo.
I'm not, but I don't mind. They're still throwing in. You know what? Here's the dirty little secret. Even when they were doing the best of the 80s and 90s, they threw in a couple of 70s songs.
Really?
Well, because they were
classics.
Yeah, well, they're classics, and they were close enough to 80, right? They're like 1978 or 9.
Sure.
It's like, well, who's counting at that point? Why can't I find my copy? Well, you know all about affordable electric. I don't know. You know, I know enough about affordable electric. I don't Need to have the copy in front of me.
Is it expensive?
Well, no, it's shockingly affordable. It's shockingly affordable. Get a whole house inspection for my friends it's for safety reasons, man. Get a whole house inspection. Just go to affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. And remember, affordable electric is shockingly affordable. Tennessee, have you ever heard of this? Pops up on my handheld occasionally. I don't know. Sometimes I think my handheld can be, I think we all know it recognizes your interests. And so it will often provide you links to stories that you might enjoy, topics that you are interested in, right? And they know that I pay attention to sports. Sports is my whole life, just sports. Have you ever heard of Athlon Sports? Athlon?
I feel like I have.
That seems like one of those dark web websites that there's really, I don't know who's behind it, who writes for it. Well, they have names. This person's name is Trevor Squire. Trevor Squire. You're squired.
Who?
And Athlon Sports, they're doing, I think this is clickbait, and we're giving it oxygen. Concerns grow over Vikings team captain's behavior at Otis. Concerns grow over Vikings team captain's behavior at Otis. I wonder what he's doing. Minnesota Vikings safety and team captain Josh Metellus' participation in voluntary organized team activities, a.k.a. OTAs, has drawn some concerns. While head coach Kevin O'Connell said that a near 100% of his roster is participating at OTAs, Metellus' presence has suggested that mark comes with an asterisk. According to Minnesota Star Tribune beat reporter Ben Gessling, Metellus has not been the same active leader he's proven himself to be at this stage of the offseason due to a contractual standoff with the team. On a June 3rd episode of Access Vikings podcast. Gessling, a frequent contributor to KFAN, suggested that Metellus, in the final year of a contract, may be staging a hold-in at Otis until he gets a new deal with limited participation this spring. Gessling says, I think there's interest from both sides in continuing that relationship and that he continues to be an important piece of the defense of Minnesota. But as of now, that contract's not done, and I don't think there's really much in terms of guaranteed money for him at this point. I'm going to be here so I can get my workout bonus. He's talking about Metellus. He says Metellus might be saying, I'm going to be here so I get my workout bonus, but I'm going to mitigate some of what I do so I'm not putting myself at more risk when I don't have a guaranteed contract going forward beyond this year, and I want to see something get done. In the final year of a 2-year, $8 million extension that he signed before he became a 1,000-snap starter for B-Flow, Metellus has outplayed that deal significantly. He signed the contract as a former 6th-round pick and special teamer that B-Flow envisioned getting more out of due to his football IQ and instinct on the field. A to Z Sports' Tyler Fornes projected a 3-year, $34 million deal worth roughly $13 million a year could be the rate that would make both sides happy. But there is, and don't they usually, when they're going into that final year of the contract, if they really want somebody, they try to get something done with them, don't they? Or not? I mean, do you make anything? Do you think this is much ado about nothing? Or do you think there might be something to what Gessling is saying according to Athlon Sports? Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, he's a guy that, as you mentioned, is going to be a free agent next year.
Plays a lot of different positions, right? He moves around a lot.
And I think that's kind of probably why it's hard to pin down his value, because he's very valuable here in B-Flow's defense because he can play the multiple positions. Mm-hmm. But if he goes to the open market, does he have as much value because he's not playing for a B-Flow somewhere else? Right? Like,
brilliant.
But from his standpoint, he's vastly underpaid.
Yes, correct.
Currently, for what he does do for this defense. So I get why he would want to be like, hey, let's get the money now while we can. But I could also see the Vikings going, Well, man, if you get to the open market, you might not be as valuable elsewhere as you are here because of the way we deploy you. So we shouldn't have to pay you that much. So I get where the standoff is.
If Metellus is actually, I don't know if this is the best way to say it, lacking a little effort at Otis, is he basically giving him London broil? Because
he's doing the common man approach.
Because they're not paying him for prime rib. They want prime rib performance, which is what he's given them under B-Flow, and they want to keep paying him for London broil. Well, I'm with Metellus on this. If you want prime rib performance, I need prime rib money.
And they have money right now.
They have plenty of money.
Cap space available.
I don't know why they wouldn't want to make him happy, because he does seem to be, you hear his name all the time on the broadcast, Metellus this, Metellus that. Why don't you tell us, Metellus, how much money do you really want? And I would think that'd be something they want to get done, but I don't know, maybe it runs deeper. And like you say, maybe elsewhere he's not as valuable, so it's almost like, and again, look, it is a cruel business as well, right? I mean, no matter what, even if you are, you think you should be paid more, and you probably should. A team still does have salary caps and this and that and other people to take care of. They've got big picture stuff they're looking at, and they might be, this is what we got for you right now. We'll look at it later, but I don't know if that's a good way to go with some of your better players.
Well, it's also a hard contract to figure out because there's no comps, right? I mean,
yes.
Who else out there in the league is playing 4 to 5 different positions on a defense and taking snaps at all these different spots? And you go, let's compare him to this person. That's the salary he should make. That just doesn't happen. So.
I think I could compare him to somebody just on the other side of the ball. He's the Deebo Samuel of defense. Deebo does a lot of different things. Running back, wide out, this, that, lat. And I think maybe Metellus is the same way. Controversy, all we're trying to do is stir the pot on the comment. We love the controversy. We always have. And we'll continue to do that. Peek at the Purple brought to you by Affordable Electric. Affordable-electric.com. For all of your electrical needs, Affordable-electric. They are shockingly affordable. I'm a radio gardener. I don't know what we're going to talk about next, but it'll be good. Trust me. That's next. Common Man Program the Fan.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at Public.com. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
Are you shopping for a new laptop while still trying to keep up with technology and AI? Talk about feeling burnt out. But no more. Lenovo.com makes it easier than ever to find the perfect PC. In fact, we'll break it down for you. Step 1. Shop our lineup of AI PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Because why deal with downloading new software when you can buy a smarter PC that already comes with all of the AI features and tools? Step 2. Find the one that fits your passion. Whether you're a creative genius, a research scientist, a hardcore gamer, or a future CEO, no dream is too big. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. You can keep up with your ideas as well as any challenges you may face. Step 3. Add to cart and purchase. Oh, if you're a college student or a teacher, make an education account through us and get 5% off your whole order. Shop now at Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Get ready to experience the magic of James Taylor.
Jimmy Taylor, just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone.
Live in concert. Don't miss out on seeing the legendary singer-songwriter along with his all-star band when they take the stage at XL Energy Center on June 17th. Enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to this incredible show at KFAN.com. Keyword contest.
By the way, it's available to everyone. If you want to go see James Taylor, you can go buy tickets. Deuce and I and my lovely wife, Potato, we want to go see Steve Miller Band at the Minnesota State Fair. My wife said she'd be delighted to go. Even though I don't think Steve Miller was really her cup of tea. She knows some of the toe tappers, and it was the first concert Deuce and I ever went to together. Well, we went to that concert by Chicago at Mystic Lake, but they were so young they fell asleep. It was the first ever, where are they going to go? It's at the Minnesota State Fair, the Steve Miller Band. The Steve Miller Band. Keep on rocking me, baby. Steve Miller at the State Fair. Go on, take the money and run. How's that go? This is a story about Billy Joe and Bobby Sue. Two young lovers. So, getting back to, I've lost two separate bets to Mark Rosen, one for $4 and one to $6 for a total of $10. I owe you $4 for a bet I made with you. That's a total of $14. You know what that means, Teneby? My checking account's down to $64,986 after I pay you guys. That's the reason I haven't paid you yet, because it's down to $65, and I'm already embarrassed by it. I was hoping to get some more in the checking account before I paid off, but because I'm a man of my word, and I made the bets, I'm going to dig around and rummage around in my backpack. I think I got... You got change for a 5? If you got a 1, I got a 5. I know that for a fact.
I don't have any change.
Well, you just have to wait then. Do you have the soundbite? Kevin O'Connell was in studio today. Did he win? He was in for the initials game, as I'm told.
He did not win.
He did not win. Did he get any?
I saw he got
stumped.
1 point.
Okay. It's a hard game. You know what I would do? I would take that concept of the initials game and I would create a board game. Brilliant. And then I would ask listeners on a GoFundMe page and try to get like 30 grand and then get $4.8 million donated to you. It's just a great gig if you can get it. So he was in today, and Chris Hockey, the hard-hitting journalist that he is. Are we going to include just the response or the question?
I got the question in there too, yeah.
A Mike Wallace type moment from Chris Hockey. Here's what he asked the head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings.
Coach, I hate to do it, but I got a job to do. So I'll ask you the question that I don't want to ask you. What are you willing to tell us about your conversations with Aaron Rodgers, if there were any?
Yeah, I did. No, it's a valid question for sure. I think it's kind of been put out there a little bit, what our relationship is. Like Aaron and I have known each other since, he lived in San Diego at the time when I was playing in the NFL. We'd work out together in the off seasons, built a friendship, rapport. Anytime we've, kept in touch throughout seasons. So there was an opportunity when him and I connected this off season just to kind of talk about, hey, what would that look like? And, we had a lot of great dialogue about it, but it always was centered around, what was best, not only for the present and the Minnesota Vikings organization, but the future. And I was very honest about my feelings towards JJ. My obligation that I felt like we, were going to give him the best possible situation to begin and thrive on this NFL journey, and let's see where it goes. And we stayed in touch and had some communication, but I understand it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this is a Hall of Fame quarterback and a guy that, you mention his name and it's probably going to be a very popular thing and probably a good thing for anybody with a microphone, and I understand that, but out of respect for our friendship and everything, we that's about as much as really kind of happened, and I still talk to him, and hope to next time I talk to him, it's going to be the same old. He's different than people probably think, but I think that's all part of it this day and age.
He didn't Metellus anything. He really didn't. Here's how I would have phrased the question, but I'm not Mike Wallace. Kevin, because I wouldn't call him coach because he's not my coach. Kevin, Did you offer the starting quarterback job to Aaron Rodgers? Just ask him, or did Aaron Rodgers ask you to be the starting quarterback? Ask the question. Did you offer the starting job to Aaron Rodgers? Did you ask him to sign with the team? Did you invite him to be a part of the team? Because it sounds like by that answer, and again, maybe I'm reading too much into it, and maybe I'm trying to hear it differently than what he really said. It sounds to me like he offered him a job, or they at least talked about it. It sounds.
I don't know if offer the job would be how I would say.
Yeah, maybe not offer the job.
But he made the comment about, we talked about what that would look like.
Yes. Can you hear my shoe squeaking?
I can. Sounds like a basketball court.
Yeah, and you hate that. Maybe I'm going to start doing that all the time. But anyway, so to me, it sounds like there was certainly interest there, and maybe on both parties, and why they couldn't come to an agreement, I don't know. Well, they kind of sort of said, well, we wanted to do the best for J.J. McCarthy, too, so do you think maybe it was, we'd bring you on, but it's going to be a quarterback competition, or I don't know. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it seems like he didn't. I don't know. I guess he answered the question, but I don't know. And I guess it doesn't matter. Now, water under the bridge. I don't think Rodgers has officially signed with Pittsburgh yet. The story I saw,
I think he did.
He did finally do that because
pending a physical.
Well, that's what I mean. So pending a physical, and I guess he'll probably pass. But when you're 41 and you've been an ayahuasca guy in a darkness retreat for years, you might not pass that physical. But if he does, he will have a 1-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Did you want to hear some other KOC audio from this morning with the power trip?
Was there anything interesting?
Well,
sure.
This was like an off-the-air video for KFAN social channels.
Social channels. Digital Snapchat, Face-Off, and Bookworm.
I'm wondering if this was a Kara production.
Oh.
But KOC was asked to give his scouting report on KFAN personalities. And your name will be here at the end. Oh, hold on. Oh, that's right. I heard the music got scared.
Chris Hockey, to me, he's like a slot receiver. Crafty and work in the middle of the field. Biggest guy, change of direction, all that stuff. Slot receiver. Corey Cove. I'm going to say Corey's the quarterback just because that's what he does every single morning. Gets everybody where they need to be, kind of running the play. Marnie Gellner, only because I sat by her 2 years in a row. She tried to strike me again this year. She did last year. She's Mark Gilmer's a safety, meat sauce, 3 technique, impactful, quick twitch. See, people would think, maybe he's the nose, but no, he's not. He's a penetrating 3 technique, thinking the Aaron Donald type sauce. Paul Allen, I think Paul Allen's exactly where he belongs, up in the booth. Dan Barrero, he probably feels a little bit closer to a fellow coach to me, but put Dan Barrero at cornerback, the younger version of him, and Common Man's a punter. We had to have a specialist on there for sure. So
what did he say? The comment is
punter. Good group of guys right there, and then Marnie, like I said, probably the most physical. Safety coming out of the middle of the field, hitting people. So that would be my list.
Sort out how the fan feels. What are we going to do in noon to 3? Let's just punt. Right? Really? That's what the fan thought as well, right? We'll just punt here. We don't know what to do. I'm only cut out to be a punter.
Well, it makes sense because, like the punter, they do the least amount of work, right? Like when they're at practice, they're just standing over there by the side. They'll hit maybe 5. Common does lots of work in preparation. You can hear it in the show every single time. There will be no FedEx today later in the show.
Yeah. He said Corey Cove is like a quarterback.
Yeah.
Imagine if KOC was the program director here. How good could you guys think how good Cove could really be?
Well, Abbott's definitely not a quarterback.
No,
there's no doubt about that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you bring in KOC. How good could Corey Cove be? He could be the next Howard Stern. Quarterback whisperer. This one says, the guy who never, and he has that capitalized, has a guest telling you how you should conduct an interview. Well, never have a guest, but I don't have them often, no, because I've only got 3 hours and it's very valuable to me. This is valuable real estate. And I got 3 hours worth of stuff to talk about every day, so why would I give it up to somebody else? Plus, just because you don't do them, I mean, here's what I'll tell you. I guess people just think whatever they hear 3 hours on this. I was the Associated Press. I did the Associated Press Small Market Newscast of the Year back in 1991. Of all the radio stations in Minnesota that are in small town, that meant 2 news people or less. I was the best. You think I didn't do interviews? I did interviews every day. State senators, state reps, mayors, city council members, governor. I interviewed all sorts of people. I've interviewed hundreds of different people over the years. I was in Wyoming. I was a sports director. I interviewed, there were like literally 14 schools in our listening area: Rock Springs, Green River, Kemmer, Mountain View, Big Piney, Pinedale, Mountain View, and Lyman. That's 8. So I guess there were 8. There might have been another 1 or 2 that I'm missing. Well, I talked to every coach. I contacted each and every coach from every sport, whether it was football to gymnastics. I'll call you every week and interview you about your team. I spent hours cutting up tape in a production room to do every sportscast every day. My sportscasts they're probably a little too long, but I wanted to recognize every team that played, not just the football, the basketball, and the guys' sports. I wanted all of them. Gymnastics, whatever they were playing, fast pitch softball, whatever, I was giving them an opportunity. Those coaches, not all would call. Some would say, that's just not my cup of tea. All right, well, I'll still mention your result, but I won't have a comment. But otherwise, all in my sportscast would be like 10 minutes long, Let's do a Southwest Wyoming Region 2A football roundup from last Friday. The Cokeville Panthers. They were the Cokeville Panthers. Todd Dayton says the team played really well. I did all sorts of interviews. I've done as many interviews. I'm going to stop blowing my own horn. What else was I going to ask you? This is a, tell me if you agree with this, Teneby. This one says, the Power Trips interview, and it's in quotes, portion with KOC was unbelievably fawning, even by KFAN standards.
Wow. I didn't hear the interview.
Were they just all fawning all over the head coach?
I just saw that soundbite on social. I was not tuned in this morning.
Well, on our whiteboard in here, it does say, welcome to KFAN, Coach Kevin. Aw, welcome to the fan, Coach.
Should we put that up for the Program Password guys today?
Can we do that?
Welcome to Program Password, Corey Cove and Justin Gard and Max Fuller and Meets Us.
Let's write that. I don't know if there's enough room on the whiteboard to write that all in, but we could sure try. I've done that bit before. I just call him Kevin. Or KOC, I guess. And I go, Coach, he's not my coach. I've said this, but you want me to do the bit again? I don't call you interim producer Molesky. We don't call you that. You're just Teneby or Molesky. No one refers to me as talk show host Cole. There's some jobs, doctor this. If you're a judge, your honor, but you're only doing that because you don't want to get, 5 to 10 in the slammer, right? So you bow down to the judge, the guy with the flowing robes and the white wig. Oh, yeah, yes, sir, 3 bags full, sir. I'll call you whatever you want me to call you as long as I can stay out of Big House, right? But otherwise, I don't say Program Director Abbott.
I don't use the job title when talking about my wife.
No.
Like some others do.
That's not necessary. If I even think when you get to the professional level, you shouldn't be calling him Coach. Just call him Kev. If you got a good vibe, it's Kev.
Unless he's your coach.
Yeah, well, but even then, because he's my program director, I don't call him PD Abbott. I think when you're a kid, you still do. When you're like in squirts and peewees and bantams and little league and high school, you should call him Coach. But after that, come on, we're all adults here. You got a real name. It's Kevin. I know you. You're Kev. We go way back.
What about your honor? I mean, you kind of got to keep that one, don't you?
That's what I just said. Yeah. You have to, because otherwise you're going to do 5 to 10 in the slammer if you get disrespectful. Same thing with a cop, officer. You don't go, hey, you with the badge. When was the last time you had your radar calibrated? You don't ask those kinds of questions. So there are certain people that you have to give the utmost respect to just to stay out of trouble. But I don't coach this, coach that. But I'm glad he was here. You know, it's nice that, because there are coaches that take themselves too seriously and they don't want to participate in the tomfoolery in the skullduggery. I would say, I would just gather, and maybe I'm making a baseless accusation, but like Tibbs, Tom Thibodeau, I don't think he would come in for program password or for initials game. Do you? He just he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that would do that.
Doesn't seem like.
It would just be like, I'm busy. I'm breaking down film. I don't have time for that. I think Rocco would. I think he would probably do that.
I think Bill Guerin probably would.
Billy Guerin probably would. He kind of likes the sound of his own voice.
I don't think John Hines, though, the head coach,
You don't think he's head coach?
No.
Yeah. I think PJ would. Just so we could
play
say
password?
Just say so he could say, roll the boat, Sky-Uma, go Gophers.
If he wants to play, we'll have him.
Yeah, we would do it. I don't mind. I'm not. Would
you call him coach, though?
No.
Coach
I'm
Fleck.
Not. No. I'll call him PJ. You know what? Here's what I'll tell you. Because I don't do interviews. So if we ever do an interview, I'll say, head football coach of the Minnesota Golden Gophers, PJ Fleck. Do you want me to call you coach? If you want, I will. I mean, if that's what makes you feel comfortable, can I just call you PJ? Can I call you, hey, you with the face? I mean, what do you want me to call you? Just tell me what you'd like me to call you. Because there are people that don't like, for instance, Deuce. He goes by Daniel. No one ever calls me. My mother used to call me Daniel. And that was it. Otherwise, I was Dan. My brother, Billy Bauer, Jeff Cesario, and a handful. It seemed like comedians would call me Danny. My dad would call me Danny. But basically, I was Dan to everybody else. I said, now Deuce goes by Daniel. So everybody's got. So if you want to be called Daniel, I will. He doesn't mind Deuce either. But if you tell me what you want to be called, I'm not called. Do you not like me calling you 10 to be? Would you rather I call you Blandon? Because that is your first name, right? Blandon?
Bland is my brand.
Yeah, so if you'd rather call me, if you want me to call you Blandon, I can. I've always liked 10 to be.
I like it a little bit better than Blandon.
Yeah.
But I don't like explaining how I got the name 10 to be. Blandon is just obvious how I got that name.
Right.
So you don't have to explain that.
You don't have to explain that. No. You're sort of like white bread. You know, it's not like a sourdough. I would be like a sourdough because I'm sour all the time, right?
Question for you.
Yes.
One more question on the coach topic.
Okay.
What if, let's say you had a coach when you were 12 years old. What was your favorite sport? Baseball?
Yeah, baseball.
Let's say you had a coach you really respected when you were 12 years old. You called him coach back then when you were 12.
Yeah.
When you then become an adult, let's say you're now 28 years old and you see that coach somewhere, would you still call him coach or do you now just use his first name?
I do the coach thing just because I do have a little bit of sentimentality to me, though there really wasn't a coach I ever really did like because they didn't like me too much. No,
because I've had like former players that, are now adults. They'll say, hey, coach.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's okay. And you know what? If Kevin O'Connell walked into your studio and you said, hey, coach, how are you? I don't think like you should be beaten upon the kidneys with big sticks until you urinate blood. It's okay.
Maybe just arrested, though?
Yeah, well, maybe, or at least questioned. But otherwise, so if you want to, for me, it's just I'm trying to think of who my favorite coach was. I've talked about my favorite teachers of all time. Roy Finden at Brown Institute and Mrs. Culleton, my second grade teacher. My favorite coach was probably Kennedy Park guy's older brother, Tom Yell. He was also a sports writer for the Coon Rapids Herald. I bet you ran into him.
Well, he was JV coach when I was coaching there. Yeah.
All right, very good. And I think I haven't talked to him in a long time. I would still just call him Tom. But he would be one guy. He was my favorite coach. He was my pony league coach. So I had this. Have I told this story? I'm sure I have. I had my dad buy me a bat that had Al Kaline's name on it. You know, they have the players' names on bats. Well, it was a really big, heavy bat. I had no business. I couldn't really even use it, but it said Al Kaline, my favorite player. So I brought it to practice. This is what a good sense of humor Coach Yell had, right? He put me in the lineup batting fourth, and he said, now, when you get up to the plate with that bat, this is what he said, I want you to crouch down. Like, so my butt's almost on the ground. He says, and then when the pitcher, because he's going to want to put it in the strike zone, right? He goes, when he just kind of tries to lob it into your little small strike, I want you to stand up and hit the ball. He asked me to do that in a game. Brilliant. So sure enough, it's a home game at Kennedy Park, and I'm crouched down like this with this big bat. The bat's taller than I am. And the pitcher did exactly what he said. He went like this, and he kind of just tried to, just toss it with himself so it goes straight. And I stood up, but the bat was so heavy, I swung and I missed, and I went spinning around like a top.
I always love that one.
He did it for his own amusement purposes, but we got back at him. Me and another kid on the team, Pete Moody, we were riding with him going from practice, and he had to stop at the high school, right? So when he went in, we turned on the windshield wipers, the radio on crush, and the heater. And then when he started the car, the radio just came blasting, the windshield wiper started, the heater was going, and he jumped because it was so unexpected, and we just thought that was the funniest thing. Youthful hijinks is what we like to participate in. Let's do this. Let's pause. When we come back, Tenneby has put together a hastily arranged 534 because he thought Lil B was here today.
I forgot, yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I couldn't remember. She said she was out this week.
It took me like a month and a half ago she was going to be out today.
But she is out, so Tenneby has put together a hastily arranged 534. We'll tap dance till 1:30, and then Program Password semifinal, the final semifinal of the Program Password Invitational. It's Sauce and Max against Cove and JG, that and more. Common Man program here on The Fan.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at Public.com. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
In the heat of battle, your squad relies on you. Don't let them down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Dominate every match with next-level speed, seamless streaming, and performance that won't quit, so you can push your gameplay beyond performance with Intel Core Ultra processors. For the next era of gaming, upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E and maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search. Power up at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.